At such a young age, how did you take to powerlifting?
My dad, actually. I was maybe 7 or 8 years old when I got diagnosed with a condition called knock knees or genu valgum. And after being operated on, I went for occupational therapy to kind of rehabilitate my knees.
Correct.
And my dad realized what they were doing in the OT clinic was the same as what he was doing in the gym.
Like you said, you founded the tribe in 2020,
Right.
and that was in the
Right.
thick of things when
Right.
COVID has almost stopped the world.
Yeah. And we took our first session from Zoom. In the first month, we had about 30 sign-ups.
Wow.
And whatever money we made, we donated it to charity because there were so many people in need back then. So we donated to animal shelters and daily wage workers.
What are the challenges that you faced before or during?
So, like I said, we compete in weight categories and age categories. I think one of the main challenges that I faced was trying to stay in that weight category.
What are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Works for some, doesn't work for some. It's basically, if you can go ahead and do it,
scientific based
you're
on
basically resetting your entire system. The long fasting period is a reset, and then you're giving yourself food, and then you're resetting again. It's basically a reset.
Kyrgyzstan 2023, the World Championship. Please tell us more about your experience there.
I remember people from multiple places in Europe, I think in Asia as well, because it's Eurasia. Yeah, multiple people. I made friends.
Nice.
It was, the experience is insane.
And you competed in both those events?
In both those events.
How did you score?
I 2 golds and 4 world records.
So did you break a world record here?
Yeah, actually, I broke 5 world records here.
Welcome to Unstoppable with Rohit Roy, fueled by the unwavering spirit of RiteBite Max Protein. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are privileged to present an extraordinary episode featuring 3 remarkable personalities who have left an indelible mark in their respective arenas. We have 2 young powerhouses from Mumbai, Kasha Nia Sachdev and Noa Eappen, who discovered their passion for powerlifting at a very young age. Driven by their unique paths to strength and excellence, these athletes have shattered records and stereotypes with their determination and talent. Alongside them is Anushka Nandani, a visionary entrepreneur and the co-founder of the very popular The Tribe India. She has redefined fitness through innovation, inclusivity, pioneering a virtual fitness studio and embodying a commitment to holistic wellness. Kasha, Noa, Anushka, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have 3 of you. My God, so many questions. Let's start with you, Anushka, since you're a senior. So you've had an incredible journey in Mumbai. What I don't know is what happened before that.
Right.
How did your early years, your cultural upbringing,
Right.
all that affect or maybe shape your decision
Right.
to get into fitness?
Right. So I was always a very active child.
Okay.
From
Where are you
being-
from, Anushka?
I'm from Mumbai.
You're from Mumbai.
Born and brought up, based in Mumbai.
Okay.
So from school, I was into athletics. I was a sprinter back then.
Oh wow. So we have 3 athletes on the show today.
And then I went on to college, your normal conventional
Right.
college post-school. And that's where I played state level handball. And
Wow.
following that, got a little career driven.
Okay.
And then did my master's in business administration.
Oh, in business.
So my touch with physical activity kind of reduced a little when I went on a little more career route.
Right.
And that's when I got my first corporate job. And while I was there on my desk, I realized this is
Not for me.
This is not for me. I'm being so unjust to myself and my employers.
Right.
There could be someone else in my seat who'd be doing way more justice to this job.
Okay.
And that's when I quit and I started studying fitness. And I took 2 years off. I traveled a little. I did a few sessions wherever I could, got my certifications in, and that's when I started my first studio.
So was the tribe your first gig?
It wasn't actually.
Okay, what was it?
So I was working individually on my own. It was called Full Form.
Full Form.
And I had a little studio in Juhu with about 20 to 25 people.
Okay.
And that's where I began.
Okay.
And the tribe came into existence in the lockdown of 2020.
Right, yes.
Where me and two of my co-founders, we came together.
Right.
And that's where we started it.
Fantastic. But what you guys are doing, of course, through the episode we'll talk about it, but it's
Yeah.
incredible. And
Thank
not because you're here.
Yeah.
I've known Karan for a while,
Right.
Robin for a while, I
Right.
met you for the first time
Right.
today, but incredible work.
Thank you so much.
The fittest are going to them. Kasha, at such a young age, how did you take to powerlifting? I mean, was it because you were working out with your family, your dad? What was the thought behind taking up powerlifting?
Powerlifting, I mean, yeah, it's a very niche sport. Like no one,
Very niche
I
sport.
don't think many people have
And especially in India, and especially for girls.
that too. My dad actually, he had been training in powerlifting. I'm not sure if he was already competing, but I think when I started training, he wasn't, but he was training in powerlifting. And I was maybe 7 or 8 years old when I got diagnosed with a condition called knock knees or genu-valgum. And it's quite common, but
Knock
it was
knees.
knock knees,
Okay.
knock knees.
Oh, is that a condition?
It's a condition. Yeah,
Okay.
you can see my little surgery scars.
Right,
here.
right, yes.
And I was suffering from many falls and injuries because of my knock knees. So we went forward with the surgery.
Right.
And after being operated on, I went for occupational therapy to kind of rehabilitate my knees.
Correct.
And my dad realized what they were doing in the OT clinic was the same as what he was doing in the gym.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a revelation. And then dad, just every Saturday, Sunday, I would go to the gym with dad.
Okay.
And then it became more of an everyday thing before school, after school. And then I realized I enjoy this. I love this.
So you started doing it as a rehab and then you started
That's
enjoying
exactly what it was.
Okay.
And at first I was a little bit reluctant. I was a child. I liked my sleepovers and my parties. I didn't really like breaking my schedule to add in this new thing.
Right.
But I began to enjoy it. And the next thing you know, I was 12 years old. I started my first competition.
Your first competition was at 12. Was it in India?
It was in India. It was in Bangalore, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, state level.
Okay.
And then here I am.
How did you fare in your first?
Yeah, my first competition I gold.
You got gold in your first competition?
Competition.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that was a feeling of adrenaline that I could not go back from.
Okay. And that's when you really started taking it seriously, or you'd already started?
Yeah, I always
did.
Yeah, I always did.
Great, fantastic. More power to you. Keep lifting. Noa, although I know a lot about your story through your dad, Rohit Eappen, I want to hear it in your words. Tell our audiences, how did you take up powerlifting and how did you take up this sport, which is not yet very popular in India?
Yeah, so I first went to the gym with my fitness enthusiast mum Arsha. I believe you know her quite well. Yeah, and just to have some exercise in my routine. And I saw Kasha and her dad Nick training, and I was.
Did you know each other before?
No, actually, not really. But we were in the same school.
Same school.
Yeah, and we didn't really know each other though.
And you were how old that time when you went with your mum for the first time?
I think around 9.
Okay, wow.
And yeah, so I saw both of them and I was super inspired. I mean, I never even heard of the sport, to be completely honest. I'd seen people like lifting and stuff, but I never really saw it. And I started training with them. So Nick took me under his wing.
Okay.
And he realized that I was quite strong. And so he sent a video of me to his coach, who agreed. And so after training like vigorously for like a couple of months, we decided to compete. I decided to compete with them. Just
a couple of months into training?
Well, we trained, yeah.
Wow.
And I decided to compete with them, and I won gold as well.
Wow, fabulous! Yeah, well done.
And yeah, I've been doing it since then. I've just always.
And how old are you now?
Now I'm 14.
Incredible. You know, I honestly, this is not anything to do with my show or my podcast. So proud of you. You guys are unbelievable. You know, you're the ones who inspire us to keep ourselves fit.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well done. Anushka, coming back to you, like you said, you founded the tribe in 2020,
Right.
and that was in the
Right.
thick of things when
Right.
COVID has almost stopped the world.
Yeah.
And then you came up with this innovative approach to fitness, mental fitness, community building, and a virtual studio.
Right.
How? I mean, you'd studied physical fitness and all of that. How did this idea come across?
So that, like everything else that happened, was a very organic idea where the lockdown had hit. I was completely losing my mind because that is the longest I had gone without exercising or just feeling good.
So it was a personal thing.
It was completely personal.
Okay.
To some extent, even selfish. I said, I want to train. I am sure there are so many people like me who are also losing their minds.
I went ballistic. I went mad. I didn't know what to do with myself.
So I called Karan and I said, we need to do something here. And I know people can't get out. Let's do something while they're in their homes. So he called up Robin and the three of us were like, okay, what can we do? And then Zoom. And we're like, okay, there is something. There is a medium.
Right.
There are coaches. There is an audience. Let's go. So we started marketing a little bit on Instagram and we said, okay, guys, we're doing sessions from home. We had no expectations from how it would turn out.
How did you reach out to your clients? I mean,
so
there were people you were training already physically?
There were people that I was training, and back then Robin and Karan were doing sessions on the beach.
Okay.
So they also had a little audience with them.
Right.
So we just reached out to our immediate friends, their friends.
Let's try this out.
Correct. And that's how it kind of began. And we took our first session from Zoom. In the first month, we had about 30 sign-ups.
Wow.
And whatever money we made, we donated it to charity because there were so many people in need back then. So we donated to animal shelters and daily wage workers. And then the lockdown just kept extending indefinitely. And then we just kept, okay, month after month after month, we just kept doing the same thing. And within 7 months...
How many months did you do? 7 months?
For 7 months.
Virtual fitness?
Virtual. We were in 17 different countries within 7 months. And that's when we realized, okay, this is getting a little bigger than we had anticipated. And now we need to do something about it.
And at the end of 7 months, how many people did you have in
We had about 250 people.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So that's when we formed a company.
The Tribe.
And then I became part of their tribe. And then we became one.
Okay, so did they already have the tribe before?
They already had the tribe. I was full form.
Okay.
And then I kind of became
one. You became part of that
family.
What is this thing about? Is it your thought or did it come from Robin or Karan about community support? Because that we've never heard of in India till now.
Right. I think that
at least I haven't.
That is something I think the three of us just had in common. Again, that was not part of a plan. The three of us always believed together, each achieves more. Okay. So that's, I mean, you grow stronger together, always.
Always, yes.
As an individual, you'll always be able to reach a certain level, but not maybe progress beyond that. But when you're together as a community, wonders happen. So we saw that, and everyone was needing community at that time. We were in our homes.
Yes, absolutely.
You needed people. You needed something to look forward to. You needed everyone to do something similar.
Things that we took for granted till then, we realized how important that is.
Right. So people started seeing results together. People started having fun together. Right. People became friends within that community. People even got married within the same community after meeting at Tribe. So then we almost were like a matrimonial organization to some extent. Okay. So it just happened very organically.
I actually strongly believe when you work out together, I keep telling my wife this, a couple of works out together, stays together.
Absolutely.
Not eats together, stays together. Kyrgyzstan, 2023, the World Championship. Please tell us more about your experience there.
Kyrgyzstan was insane, actually. It's still surreal. It's been a year.
I want to know what you were up against at that point and how did you manage?
So we really did not know what we were in for. I'm not very good at geography. I hadn't heard of the place.
Oh God!
No, honestly, neither had I. neither had I. No.
Okay, that's not something that you need to imbibe.
Never heard of the place. Didn't exactly know what we were expecting. We walk in the first day, and the place is packed.
Okay, did you guys go together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was prepared though. I think we'd competed 3 months prior. I had cleared with maybe 3 goals and several world records, and I was ready for this.
Very good.
We were the prior year we were supposed to compete in Russia, I think, But then the second lockdown, we were talking about, we were stuck in our
That was the worst.
That was the worst. And then with the conflict of that, we couldn't, that's not something that could have happened. So this was my chance. That's how it felt. It felt like my redemption.
Right.
And there were actually two tournaments that we were in for, both under the same league, WBC Open European Championships.
Right.
The first day we competed.
How many countries were competing?
I'm not sure actually. It was an international league.
Okay, right.
So I remember people from multiple places in Europe, I think in Asia as well, because it's Eurasia. Kyrgyzstan's, Eurasia, I feel. Multiple people. I made friends.
Nice.
It was the experience was insane.
And you competed in both those events?
In both those events.
How did you score?
I 2 goals and 4 world records.
This keeps getting better and better. Wow. And what was your experience at the World Championship? Now, you started after her, but now you compete with each other or against each other?
Well, we're in different weight categories and age categories, so it's not
so it
really.
Matter at all.
Yeah.
How was your experience and how did you score there?
It was quite surreal. Like it's definitely not something I would have expected when I first started training. And
was this your first international?
It was, yeah.
Oh.
And it felt so crazy. Like I wouldn't have believed it.
I thought it was insane.
I just never would have believed it. And it was so nice because there were so mere people from all over the world, and everyone was so supportive and kind. And when we were breaking world records, there was I remember this so distinctly. There's a flashing light that kind of shows when you're about to break a world record. And I remember people kept like coming back and forth to watch us. And I was like, there was like people coming to watch me.
One second. So did you break a world record here?
Yeah, actually, I broke 5 world records here. And
5 world records? Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So
How did it feel?
I mean, it felt amazing. It was nerve-wracking, but the experience, it was amazing. And
was your mind working towards it that, okay, now I'm about to break the world record, or you were just doing your thing?
The funny thing is, where I'm generally so like zoned out when I'm training. Like I have my headphones on, I can't hear anything except my music that's like playing in the background. It's literally wherever I'm going, my headphones kind of come with me. So that's all I'm paying attention to and just kind of hyping myself up for the lift. But it was amazing. Like the whole experience was just amazing.
5 world records at one event.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Excellent. Any challenges that you face? Because we also want our listeners and viewers to know, it all sounds like, world records. What are the challenges that you face before or during?
So, like I said, we compete in weight categories and age categories. I think one of the main challenges that I faced was trying to stay in that weight category, just because we have to eat enough to still have strength, but at the same time, not so much that we exceeded the weight category. So I think that was one of my biggest challenges when I was about to compete.
We're going to talk about nutrition with the two of you, and of course with you, so hold that thought.
Yeah.
Anushka, you've been pretty vocal, whatever I've read. You have been vocal about the transformative power of fitness in your everyday health and happiness. How does physical fitness affect your health and happiness?
So, I know it sounds very cliche, but once you are physically active on a daily basis, it's going to change your life.
Okay.
A lot of people start exercising to look a certain way, and I did as well initially.
Most of us do.
Exactly.
Really.
The aesthetic is very important, but over time, you realize that the aesthetic is a byproduct, and just the way you start feeling is everything. I think it manifests itself in so many different aspects of your life. I feel you're a calmer person when you're exercising every day. You're making better decisions on a daily basis.
I feel you're also more confident for some
100%.
reason. I know there's some connection between...
100%. Your self-esteem immediately shoots up.
Yes.
I think you just handle life better.
Better.
And of course, it comes with a little science where there's an immediate flush of dopamine, serotonin. You can't help but feel happy.
Right.
So when all those things are happening, your anxiety levels are reduced. Stress levels immediately drop. So physiologically, there are so many changes happening. The brain is forming new brain cells when you're physically active.
Is that so?
It does.
I'm so glad we're talking about this, because this is one area we've not really spoken about.
There are new neural pathways being created when you're physically active. So your brain in itself, as physically, is kind of exercising itself. So
does that affect your memory and all of that as well?
Absolutely.
So this is a very good thing, because a lot of my friends who are about 40, 45 have started complaining that, I don't remember his name or her name, and I don't remember this and that. Does physical activity help with
100%.
that? Oh, wow.
It's basically a protective shield for your brain. Neurodegenerative diseases like, say, dementia, Alzheimer's, clinical depression, you are kind of delaying the onset of it.
Wow.
So that's where it comes in as protection to your brain and your body, which is why it is a prerequisite to every single individual. Not once, not twice, you need to exercise every single day.
So people say that 3 din jao, 3 din mat jao, aisa nahi hai.
No. It needs to be your lifestyle. You're brushing every day, you're eating every day. You're doing so many things on a daily basis. Why can't you remove 30 minutes to prolong your own lifespan?
And longevity.
And longevity.
And so this is my personal question, not part of my show. So I was in America for 3 weeks.
Right.
And I have to admit, I didn't get the time.
Right. Yeah.
I hope that's reversible. When I go back to the gym, I'll be fine. No?
As long if you've been training hard before and after.
I don't believe in this 3-day, 4-day thing. I train every day.
Yeah.
And I just feel a lot better, even if I'm tired. After like a long day at shoot, I come back and I work out for 45 minutes. I'm great, and I sleep better.
Exactly.
People say, "Main thaka hua, I don't want to go to the gym." It's reverse actually.
Yeah. And that's why we keep trying to say that, if I work out before work, I'm going to get tired. No. You're going to be more productive. You're going to feel more energetic. It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. So the question I have to ask you guys, because you're at that age wherein you're also studying, right? And such rigorous training schedules coupled with this thing, how do you keep yourself focused on both your goals?
You know what? It's something like you just said. In fact, they supplement each other. They're not counterintuitive. They work in one direction. So I get it.
In terms of time, how do you make time for both?
That's what I was getting to. I feel like I was doing the IGCSE program. It's a 2-year program, fairly difficult. And the issue, it's not rote learning and then you spit it out on the exam day. It's so much research, so much time and thought and method goes into it that it's not like you can just study and then leave it. There's always something to do. So how we tackled it, my dad and me, is we would train in the morning from when we were training for competition, even earlier, of course, but I think regularly it was 5:30 to 9:30. We would get ready at the gym, and then we would drive to school, and I would have to blow dry my hair out the car window.
I have a video of her doing that actually. Wow. She was like using a comb and using the wind to blow her hair, dry it out.
After school, it's not like I can sit and study because I have rehab to do. I have to do my cardio. And those are not even just things for my sport, it's also for myself.
Right.
It's something I need to do. And then I guess sometimes my education does land up taking a backseat, but me as a student, as a person, I'm fairly diligent. Thank you. I'm very big on books and studying in general.
So you enjoy that as well?
Yeah, it's not in my character to just leave it behind because I'm competing. Right. So both are equally important, and I usually just study late into the night and then rest as much as I can for gym.
But sleep, like she will say, sleep is the best form of recovery. How do you manage that then?
Actually, my
have you ever felt, oh God, too much today?
Work or
work and both?
No, never miss gym. Never miss gym.
So you missed a couple of books here and there, but not the gym.
No, I think sleep is where I sacrifice the most.
But I think, Anushka, at their age, it's a little better for them, right? In terms of not getting like, I need 7-8 hours of
I mean,
sleep.
with
Oh,
her
me too.
schedule, yeah.
7 hours.
That's great.
But you get it? Not
I
that
take
much.
naps in lunch. I take naps in study hall.
Because nobody speaks about sleep.
But you know
I
what?
was surprised.
My school is they are so forgiving and they are so understanding that during study hall, when we're supposed to be revising, doing some extra work, put your head down.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it
They
is
also
nice.
know what you're putting in.
They have seen me since I was 8.
Exactly.
So that's
So, yeah.
all I can say. Yeah.
What about you? Do you enjoy studying or are you like me?
No. I can very honestly say not at all.
You can be honest on this show.
Yeah. No, I've always struggled with studies a little bit, to be completely honest. It's not something I like to prioritize, although I have to. But yeah, I think definitely balancing everything is something I really struggled with, at least at first. Because, managing school and training and even actually just going out and meeting my friends and stuff, that's something I thought was really important. Like I had to,
Of course.
and so I really struggled at first, but like Kasha said, our school has been so supportive, and it definitely got easier over time. My friends did everything they could to try and include me however they could. And
The support systems really make a difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Building. This is it.
Yeah, and training in the mornings really helped as well, because obviously for me, my evenings opened up a little bit to try and study then and, meet friends in the evenings. So it got easier after a while, but it definitely took some time to get used to.
And you still train those long hours?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's another segment we talk about which has got to do with, of course, your training, your all of that.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned, sleep. Nobody speaks about sleep. So lenge.
Right.
A consistent sleep time is so important. The other thing which is very important is nutrition. Now, I have personally always believed, I don't know whether you will agree with me, that in my life, my health is 80% nutrition and 20% workouts.
Right.
Maybe all three of you won't agree with me, but I've seen this. Even if I miss my workouts, but if I eat properly and I eat well, it really helps me. What are your thoughts and what do you tell your clients?
So nutrition is a make or break. No matter how hard I'm training, if I'm not consuming a diet that is supplementing my training,
Right.
it's of no use.
There's no use, right?
Right. You're training, at least at Tribe, you're training an hour. 60 minutes is what you train, and then the rest of the day is what you're eating. So you can either negate all of that or you can supplement all of that.
Right.
So at least for me, and what we try to tell our clients is do not fall for any fad diets
Oh, yes.
or anything that is unsustainable.
Absolutely.
Or something that will adversely affect your health while you're actually trying to improve it. To try to stick to something that is way more balanced. You need your carbs, you need your protein, you need your fats.
What
you
does
need
this
your
say
fiber.
about people giving up carbs? Why? What do they think is going to happen?
It's absolute rubbish. You
Rubbish, right?
need carbohydrates. Your brain needs carbohydrates. It's fuel for your body. You cannot remove a single macro of your diet. It's not going to help you in the long run.
So how come these great nutritionists all over the world actually go on to, you see so many papers I've read on nutrition and they say, you do this, you do that. And I've had friends doing it also.
Right.
And I must admit there was one time that I really wanted to lose weight and I
Right.
did a keto diet.
Right.
And I lost some 12 kilos, but when I put on the weight back, oh my God.
Yeah.
So how are they so irresponsible? And why?
It also depends. So if there's somebody super obese, for health reason, the person needs to lose a certain amount of weight. I will kind of modify their macros,
We'll tweak it slightly.
tweak it slightly, but never deprive that person of one entire food group.
Okay.
I don't see that working in the long run. It all comes down to what you're going to be able to do sustainably for the rest of your life, maybe. Or you're not going to be able to not eat a carbohydrate for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
It's not possible. And then when you start doing it, your body is going to immediately react to it. Hence the extreme weight gain. Let it be balanced. Let it make you happy. Food should not be punishment.
It should be like acha khana
Exactly. You
Make
shouldn't
you
be
happy.
punishing yourself. It's food. It's going to help you. So let it be balanced. Eat everything mindfully. And I also feel when you are working out regularly, you'll automatically eat more mindfully. You'll know what your body responds to. You'll know what you're supposed to stay away from. I myself I keep myself far, far away from processed sugar. That is the one thing I cut. No white sugar. Apart from that, different sources of sugar,
Jaggery
absolutely.
is fine a little bit sometimes.
It is. Your fruit sugars, your natural sugars, yes. But anything deep fried.
Samosa.
Ouch. Unfortunately.
Jalebi.
No. Hard. Sugar and fried.
Do you miss the cotton percent?
Absolutely.
And do you, like, when you're speaking about sugar in general and cutting it out, do you mean on like from a nutritional standpoint or from a dieting standpoint? Because I feel like if you're speaking about from a calorie standpoint, sugar is sugar.
Absolutely.
It does not matter if I eat a bowl of rice or those 2-3 jalebis.
Right.
So do you mean from like a nutrition about your hair and your skin, your body?
Just a wellness point of view.
Okay.
Calories wise, she's absolutely right. Whether you consume jaggery, a fruit, or a bottle of it's the same thing. Your body is going to process sugar as sugar. But what happens with the over-processing is it comes down to your overall health. So I mean it.
So it's a good form of sugar and a bad form of sugar.
Right. You need your sugars. Right. But the highly processed form, I'm not getting any nutrition from it. There's zero nutritional value.
And in fact, it's counterproductive.
It's counterproductive.
Right? I've heard so much about this shit amount of sugar and sometimes you love it. I mean, what can I say? You know, you go into life and when you're working so hard,
I got it from my dad.
Just stay
back. Let's blame it on dad. Now, since I'm getting free advice, please tell me what my plate should look like. 3 meals, 4 meals, because it's become really rocket science. And me having been into fitness for the last 20 years, I still get confused with my diet.
Right. It also depends on certain metrics like your weight and height, of course.
6 feet, 78 kilos.
Okay, superb. If
you will be both.
There you go. Only I don't power lift.
If you're training regularly, you need slightly more protein in your diet, because that's going to get absorbed by all your muscles and that's going to show when you're training. Again, eat your carbs, have a carb, have a protein, have a source of healthy fat and have fiber. I think that is a nice, well-rounded, balanced meal, at least 2 meals. So I like to start my day with fat and protein. So like eggs and avocados for me, because that is fuel. You're immediately getting your body fueled up to sustain you for the rest of the day.
And then you work out in the morning?
I work out in the morning.
So you have this meal and then...
And then I train. And then my lunch is a nice carbohydrate with say like rice or veggies or a dal, a nice salad on the side, snack on fruit
so
at times.
So you don't necessarily have to have meat or chicken or in that meal?
I avoid it as much as possible.
That's great, because that's what I want to ask you. I'm leaning towards, you know.
You have your tofu, you have
so much
lentils, legumes, you don't need to...
So just post your workout, don't you? Everybody's told me you should have a protein shake immediately after working out.
I do.
You do, right? So that would be the...
Yes, that definitely does help get your protein intake in. Because it's very hard to maintain a certain amount of protein requirement that you need through the day. So the shake
Or you keep eating all day.
Correct. The shake kind of makes that easy. And then again, the dinner is again
so
a very
there's nothing
balanced
between
plate.
lunch and dinner?
I snack on a fruit at times.
All fruit.
And then again, your healthy fats from your nuts and seeds.
Okay, great. I'm doing well so far.
Oh yeah, 100%. And again, a nice dinner. With
hearty
all, like with your carb, your protein, your fiber and your fat.
So is it a myth that after 6:37 you should not have carbs?
100%.
Oh really?
100%.
I've been doing that for the longest time,
No, give your body what it needs.
So you can have carbs after like 6:37 in your last meal?
Yes, absolutely.
Till now I've believed and I've been made to believe that if you cut out carbs from your last meal, you lose weight. Yeah, sorry. Which is why I'm on this side and you guys are on that side.
You will to lose weight, you just need to have a deficit, a calorie deficit. If you're achieving that, you're good.
Before we move on, final question. Gosh, this seems like what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Works for some, doesn't work for some. It's basically, if you can go ahead and do it,
scientific based
you're basically resetting your entire system. The long fasting period is a reset, and then you're giving yourself food, and then you're resetting again. It's basically a reset. If you can go for those many hours without eating, and it needs to be monitored, it needs to be by a professional who is kind of giving you the advice and telling you what to do.
And is this a long-term sustainable kind of diet to
if you
follow?
can.
If you can do it.
If you can do it. Again, you need a qualified professional to kind of know if you can do it or not. I suggest you don't do it on your own if you might not know what is good for you, what's not good for you. So definitely take professional advice, and if you can, I've seen it make a lot of difference to a lot of people.
So yeah, when I did try it, it had kind of worked for me, and then in my shoots and my travels, I lost it.
Right.
Coming to you. Now, it's very important that you maintain peak performance fitness in your profession, right? How do you or your dad or whoever takes care of your nutrition, how do you manage that if you say, I want to have a right in the middle of competition?
You know what? First of all, that's no calories. So it's...
Okay, she's smiling.
I have a few as well. So.
Oh, you do? Okay, fine.
No, I don't really gravitate towards carbonated beverages. It's just... honestly, my diet is pretty clean.
Okay.
I feel like you said during... Do you mind repeating the questions? During competition?
During competition. That was a question for her, but you can also answer it.
Oh no, so you just mean every day?
So like, on a regular basis, like I asked her what I should eat on a regular basis, which is sustainable, but you, obviously, your level of performance is much higher than mine. So how do you take care of that?
Absolutely. I just feel like for me, it's a little bit more cyclical. So at points, actually, I do land up cutting out carbs from my diet. Right. But it's not carbs in the sense, like technically fibers would fit into the food group that are carbohydrates. It's one and the same thing. It's just bulk. And I tend to gravitate more towards vegetables instead of my rice and other forms of carbohydrates, because I just feel like that works better for me when so I cut out carbs.
Okay.
And I have more vegetables, and then during competition I fuel up. I do take all the bread and pasta in the world, and I take it in, but that's not my everyday diet.
That's not your...
My everyday diet is pretty clean. I don't land up eating sugar unless I am on a refeed. So a refeed day is kind of like a cheat meal.
Okay, of course,
where
you do have a cheat day, right? Or a cheat meal?
It's not really, I don't really consider it a cheat. Thank you. Absolutely. But I think I go 2-3 weeks without any sugar. And then I refeed on one meal, usually dinner, it's a pizza, something very high calories, spikes your insulin, and the next morning wake up lighter.
Oh.
Yeah, so right now I'm eating
and it makes you happy?
It does, but I actually enjoy eating the way I do. Yeah. My friends look at me and they think I'm miserable, but I'm not. I promise I'm not.
I'm sure you have a method to your madness. Otherwise, you couldn't
I like eating clean. After I was recently in Thailand, and after those 2-3 days of eating lots of food and just unnecessarily stuffing my face, I felt good to come back and eat.
Right, of course. Yeah, as long as you balance it out and you do things. My question to you was a little different. Like, bodybuilders have on and off season. So do powerlifters, does your diet vary according to when you're just about to prepare or you're going there, or is it all the same?
I mean, so overall our diet is the same because we're training throughout the year, right? So when it becomes more strict when we're about to compete because we have our weight checks and everything for our weight classes. So so for example, throughout the year when we're training, we weigh our food. I'm not a person who can cut out carbs completely. I need it. It's my guess.
Keeps you happy?
Yeah. But so I weigh my food instead. We have a certain amount of carbs that we eat and a little more protein. And then when we're closer to competition, it just becomes a lot more strict, where not 1 gram more or less than what we're supposed to be having.
We have to wait.
Yeah, we have to wait and make sure that we're strict about it. But like Kasha said,
is that tough?
I think it definitely took time to get used to it because I'm used to eating a lot. But yeah, no, I got used to it. And it's not as hard anymore. And after we have our weight checks and everything, when we're about to compete, we land up eating a lot anyways because we're trying to have strength. But overall, it's pretty much the same. I think I eat the same thing throughout.
It's tough. I can imagine. I mean, the discipline and control has to be there.
Also, I'm a very picky eater. Sorry, so I'm a very picky eater. So I land up having almost the same meals like constantly.
You don't want to experiment. You want to act.
No. Yeah.
No, not bad. I've actually learned a lot from today's episode. My God, you guys, both of you are wise old souls, if I may put it that way. begs the question that a lot of people say that kids under 16 or 14 are not allowed in the gym. Even in my gym, they're not allowed. And these kids have started training since they were 7, 8 and they seem to be doing absolutely great. What is this myth about and how did it come about?
Honestly, I don't know how and from where somebody just realized that, okay, no kids, no training for kids, no weightlifting.
No weightlifting, yeah. And then weightlifting.
The weirdest thing, it's going to keep you short.
Short, your bones will not grow or something like that.
I don't know where it's come from. I don't know.
And you've been training since you were 7, right?
Yes, I was 7, 8.
Yeah.
I actually got that a lot because, sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all.
But when I first started, training, I was a bit short for my age.
Right.
And a lot of people came to my parents and, and they were like, why is she training? She's just going to get even shorter than she already is. And I actually landed up growing a lot more than I probably would have if I wasn't training. Yeah. So actually, if anything, it helped me a lot more than
So where did this myth come from? And look at her.
I mean, you can just take it from their dad. Start them young.
Right.
It's only going to help. It's going to set discipline. It's just going to help them in the long run. They're just going to be able to make their own decisions, be strong, independent, and I think there's no downside to it.
Yeah,
exactly. There's literally no downside to it.
It seemed like, honestly, I seem like before you guys came on, I was wondering, I said, what am I going to talk to these two kids? What am I going to ask them? Wonderful. I mean, you're so aware of what you're doing, what you should be doing. It's really great.
Thank you.
The one thing which you can't replace is experience, but I think you've got a world of experience at this tender age. So more power to you. Before we go into one fun segment, there is, all three of you can answer it. Maybe you can answer it because they're still young. A lot of women do face a lot of body changes, mental changes, hormonal changes, 35, 40, and they don't know what's hit them.
Right.
At that point, how does nutrition and working out or meditation, what are the things that they can do, whether it's a menopausal woman or a woman who's losing calcium, muscle mass, what do they do?
As a woman?
Like a simple thing.
Simple thing, 2 words, weight training.
Weight training?
That's all they need to do because as you age, your muscle mass is going to reduce, your bone density is going to reduce, and the only thing that can counter all of that is lifting weights. So the myth that I'm going to get bulky, I'm not going to be able to do it.
So ridiculous. I've had people come in and say, "Hum workout karenge to muscle banega."
Those are just...
I mean, look at them.
Exactly. Again, coming back to both of them.
And you as well. I mean, you've been weight training since I don't know how many years.
And it is miraculous.
So that's it.
Yeah,
so that is the mantra.
That is it. Your muscle in your body is going to be your currency for your longevity. So the sooner you do that, you're good. Nothing will ever touch you.
Super. Now there's a fun segment. It's called the Ask Rohit segment. I've asked you so many questions. You can ask me one question each about whatever you want to ask me. But let's keep it to nutrition and health and all of that. You want to start?
Just a simple question before I think of anything else. How long have you been doing this for? I've seen a lot of people on your podcasts. And
so this particular podcast I've been doing, this is our 36th episode. So we've been doing it for a couple of months now. Yeah.
Wow.
Your father was on the show earlier.
Yeah, I saw.
And that's when he told me the story about you. Why did you bring her? And then we were happy to have both of you together, which is, this is actually going to be very inspirational for the cross-section of society that I have not targeted yet. There were so many myths like kids shouldn't work out, kids shouldn't do this, kids shouldn't do that, and all of that. So this is going to break and debunk those myths.
What inspired you to do all of this?
So I've always been into fitness, not as much as her, but I've always been into fitness because being an actor, I need to look a certain way 24/7.
Yeah.
And as a child, I was very fat and overweight. And once I got into it, like she said, I just feel happy.
Yeah.
And this was a perfect way of, interacting with like-minded people, discussing things that affect a lot of people they don't know about. So it's not just a Q&A, it's also I'm learning constantly. Like something like simple, like I gave up carbs after 7 o'clock and she said, that's bullshit, it's not going to make a difference to you. So I'm also learning, and this is something that I enjoy, talking about fitness, mental health. That's something that we just started talking about. So,
Cool.
How do you balance all of it? Being an actor, doing something as amazing as this, like bringing people together and making conversation, and the thousand other things that you must be doing. Like, how do you just find the balance?
So it comes to me organically, like she said, you know, for her, reading books and working out and lifting weights comes organically, and she wants to do all of that. I'm taking a leaf out of your book. This is community building.
Right.
I feel a lot of support listening to you guys. And I think it doesn't really take much effort because this is all an extension of me as Rohit.
Right.
You know, I love working out, I love talking, I love meeting new people. I'm a people's person. So I think it all kind of falls into place.
Right. So you had mentioned something earlier. I think you lost a certain amount of weight on a fad diet.
Yes, it is a fad diet. I mean, now having done that, I know that keto or paleo or what are these are all fad diets.
On a fad diet and then gaining the weight back. And I'm presuming as an actor, you have to change the way your body looks for different roles. Does it affect you? Because me personally, I just gave my 10th pounds. There were 10 months where my knee was injured. I couldn't move. I put on 12 kilos.
Wow.
And it's something I struggle with personally. And being a teenage girl, I feel like that speaks enough.
Yes, absolutely.
It's difficult to look into the mirror and see something you don't really love. And I'm assuming the change, is it difficult? Is it tough?
I have to be very, very honest. Yes, it's very difficult for me, even at my age. It's a constant struggle, and especially when you cross 40s, that struggle becomes multifold. Because you have, after having done stunts for 20 years, I've broken almost all parts of my body. My muscle takes time to recover. My sleep patterns are not that great because you know how the industry works. All of that. But over the last, I think since COVID, I have turned my life around in the sense that now this is my first focus. I don't care when I'm shooting. I don't care when I'm doing this. I have to eat well. I have to go to the gym. I had a lot of bad habits which I've kind of cut out from my system. And it all, you know, I think at a particular age, you realize that what is more important. But the struggle is genuine, but the hustle is hard. I keep doing it. And, you know, a lot of people ask me that, how do you keep going? This is how I keep going because I enjoy it, you know. But yeah, the weight loss is becoming exceedingly difficult because I love steaks and cream.
That makes two of us.
So that is in New York. Imagine.
It's the ideal food.
Yeah, it is. But there's a lot of fat in it. I have the T-bone, which is
eat the clean meat.
Yeah, eat the clean meat. But when you're eating that in Peterluga, you won't have that. Anyway, so great. Thank you for your questions. And before we go, you've been very, very informative, all three of you. But we've always had challenges that we faced. Honestly, I want to know from all three of you, which is that one challenge you felt that you couldn't overcome it? And if you did, how did you overcome it? And you can tell this to the audience because this is called the keep going mantra. I'll start with you.
Quite a lot of challenges for me. Firstly, I think I'm in an industry where I'm talking to at least 50 to 80 people on a daily basis.
Right.
When you're training somebody for that 1 hour, your client is so vulnerable to you and they're placing so much faith in you to kind of transform their lives. I think that is a little pressure that I feel on a daily basis.
Even now?
Even now. Wow. That I am very responsible for this person's well-being. Right. So if I am unwell, that comes with a little guilt that how can I be unwell? If I am not there today, that means because of me, this person is kind of missing a part of their schedule. So I have to power through no matter how I am feeling. I could be having a horrible day. My hormones could be all over the place, but it does not matter in that moment because I've consciously, willingly signed up for this. So that for me is a big one.
It's like actors, like I might be feeling shit inside and I have to smile on camera.
You have to,
How do you keep going?
So, in my transition, I think we spoke about this before, from powerlifting to weightlifting, because powerlifting is an Olympic event and it's been my goal since I was high to compete in the Olympics. In our switchover, I think sometime last year, I unfortunately got injured very early into the game. I have, number one, never been injured before. I have never been injured in the sport before. I've broken leg, all sorts of things. But it's never affected my training. And this was my knee.
Oh.
And then soon after, it was my shoulder, and then it was my ankle.
Oh my God, back to back.
And the issue is that 2 months in and I showed promise. And that was snatched away from me. Just as quickly. We were training with this Olympic coach who was amazing. And my dad was right there by me. And then it just all spiraled. I was in physio for hours every single day. And then I had to concentrate on my school. And this all just led to me feeling like, oh my God, this is never going to happen. Which is hard. And the issue is that I'm not fully recovered yet. And while I'm still going to the gym every single day, I will still show up. It's just, I want to feel strong again. And I think my dad literally tells me this every single day because he knows how I'm feeling. He's like an extension of me.
Correct.
But I have to do this. I have to do this for myself.
What do you tell yourself?
And I have to do this for my dad. I'm sorry.
I'm sure you're going to do it. I'm sure you're going to do it. Whatever little bit I've come to know of you through this conversation, I am 1000% sure that you're going to surmount all these battles.
Thank you.
It's part of your life.
It's a plan. It's a
you're
plan.
doing it. And that's the plan, and it's going to work for sure. The next time we chat, you will have done it.
Yeah, 100%.
You?
I think something I struggled with was just being teased and bullied, because I feel like powerlifting it's a very male-dominated sport. You don't see that many women lifting and pulling weights, and there are so many myths about it and things like, okay, if it's going to stunt your growth, then women shouldn't be lifting such heavy weights, they shouldn't have muscles, and you would think that people should be supportive and for women trying something new, but I think before all of this and while just training and before the world records and everything, it was hard to kind of keep believing in myself.
And believing the sport that you've taken.
Yeah, and it was something completely new for me. I was never really that into sports, and so being teased and bullied, and I think I really took it to heart. So even if people didn't really mean it, and when you're powerlifting, okay, you put on...
At this age, kids can be a little brutal.
Yeah, and you put on weight as well, right? Because you're gaining muscle and stuff. So people calling me names, people calling me fat, I think that it really got to me and really bothered me. And I think I really struggled to... I got used to it, but I still struggled to hear it. And I still... in my mind, I could keep replaying it.
What did you tell yourself at that point? How did you say, okay, no, I'm going to do this?
And I think I still, I can't say that I don't still feel like that sometimes. I still struggle with that. But I've also realized that what I'm doing is still an accomplishment for me. And it's still something that not many people can say they've done.
You made the country. What more?
So although, it still bothers me, it gets...
You're still grappling with
it's still getting easier.
It's the one thing I've realized is when you put it out into the world, when you speak your mind, you feel lighter, I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
At the end of the day, who's the one with the world record?
Exactly. There you go.
And the older sister in me kind of gets very angry.
And you guys have each other, which is amazing. You're also very lucky that you have each other, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're gonna... forget the external noise, it doesn't matter. How many times I have got trolled for no fault of mine. I crack a joke and I get trolled because
being an actor must be really stressful.
It's tough, but I've shut out the external noise. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
This has been an exceptional episode.
Thank you.
And I mean that. I know as a host I have to say nice things about myself, but this has been exceptional at a lot of levels. It's been insightful, it's been inspiring, and I've always believed age is a number. Age is really a number. I think you guys have achieved a lot more than me and her have achieved till now, which is fantastic.
Thank you so much for having us.
More power to you guys, and thank you, Anushka. I'm going to call you and bother you because of a more questions. I hope you were inspired by today's episode. We'll see you again on another episode of Unstoppable with Rohit Roy. Till then, be unstoppable. See you soon.